Hello, so I've been involved with a composting collaboration video with some other YouTubers. Now the channel, The Kitchen Garden with Eli and Kate, the full video is on that channel, so I'll link that video down below. You can look at that if indeed you're interested. But upcoming now is my contribution, if you will, to that collaboration, and that is how to make compost in a Dalek tumbler, and I've explained it in a relatively simple fashion, not taking up too much time. So I hope you enjoy it. We'll speak soon. Hello, my name's Dan, and today I'm going to be talking about making compost by using Compost Dalek tumblers. So with regards to composting and gardening in general, I need it to be three things: productive, enjoyable and time efficient. Now with regards to the making of compost, two of the main compositions are sources of greens, otherwise known as nitrogens, and sources of browns, otherwise known as carbon. So examples of greens would be freshly cut grass. You can include kitchen scraps in that, so things like fruit peel, leaves, etc. you don't use. And you can also include horse manure in that. Chicken manure is particularly high in nitrogen, so that too is a green. And with regards to browns, otherwise known as carbon sources, you can include newspaper in that, cardboard, sawdust, and also autumn or fall leaves. So have a good look at that, and lots of information out there as to more sources of greens and browns. So I like to use a ratio of approximately half and half. Half green, half brown, half nitrogen, half carbon. So for example, I'd have a pot here of freshly cut grass and another pot of autumn or fall leaves. One thing you do have to consider is things such as grass, when it's freshly cut, is more of a green, a nitrogen, but as it matures it can become more of a brown, a carbon. So just have to be a little bit aware, because certain things can change their composition over time. You want to keep your compost moist, so like a damp sponge or a damp cloth. You don't want it overly wet, but keep it moist, and then that way the bacteria in there have got something to use in order to help the decomposition process of your composting matter. About once a month it can be good to turn your compost, meaning take it out and put it back in, or take it from this tumbler and say put it in that one, and then you can go vice versa. That way that can help to put more air in to further help the decomposition process. But I don't actually turn my compost at all. I can't budget the time in order to do that, but if you do, you could end up producing compost quicker than if you just left it to itself. Let's take some out the bottom here. Beautiful. One commonly occurring problem of composting is when it can go slimy. You can get an overly fruity smell, isn't too pleasant, and it just looks slimy and doesn't really look like compost. So when this happens, what you can quite often do is do something which I refer to as neutralising. So it's very unlikely this is scientifically correct, but for example here, if I open that, you can see there's plenty of greens here, like this. So if I kept adding greens to this could end up getting a little bit slimy and wouldn't break down properly. So what I can do is neutralise this by adding some browns, some carbons, and I'm going to add some leaves to this. Put it in nice and firm. Another commonly occurring problem is it doesn't break down properly due to too many browns, too many carbon sources. So what you can do then is add some more nitrogen sources to it. Kitchen scraps, for example, horse manure or chicken manure would also be a good one to add. Urine can also be a good nitrogen source, and also it can reduce your water bill at the same time. So here we have a lovely container here of some homemade compost, and you can do the same.